My name is Anastasia Christophilopoulou. I am a classical archaeologist and also the curator of Greek, Roman and Cypriot antiquities at the Fitzwilliam Museum, University of Cambridge. 2021 marks an important anniversary for Greece, 200 years after the War of Independence. The Greek Revolution was a pivotal chapter in Greek history, but also a piece in the puzzle of world history as it happened closely in time with other revolutions and wars of independence that flared up at approximately the same period. Today, 200 years after the Greek War of Independence, we look back at its significance as well as the effect it had on the rest of the world. But is this the job of just modern historians? I'm here to argue that it is not, and that everyone related or touched by modern Greece can reflect on the significance of its independence and how this can be related to our lives today. As an archaeologist, I began to think about these matters from the point of view of ancient material culture. I am also a Greek curator living abroad and working at a university museum, and one of the things I am fascinated about is the unique stories of discovery of ancient objects and later of their reception and modern narratives as part of their journeys to museums outside Greece. I have chosen today a very special object from our Greek and Roman collection at the Fitzwilliam Museum, one whose discovery gives us a unique glimpse of Greece during the last stages of the Ottoman occupation. It is also one that highlights the different realities of mainland and island Greece during the time of the revolution. Let us see the object. The Pashley Sarcophagus is a Roman marble sarcophagus decorated with a deep relief showing the triumphant return of Dionysus. It is a large object weighing approximately 1.5 tons. It was produced in Italy and then shipped to Greece according to the order of a rich Roman citizen who could afford a luxury coffin such as this. It was made during the Middle Roman period, so between 100 and 200 AD, but the sculptor or school that created it is unknown. The frieze, along with the front of the marble sarcophagus, is expertly carved and depicts the return of Dionysus from India, having given the gift of a grape to the East. Dionysus is accompanied here by an entourage of human and semi-human co-revelers. At the far left of the frieze is a Maenad, a female follower of Dionysus. She holds up a tambourine while her garments are being whisked off in the slipstream of the god's chariot. Dionysus wears a panther skin and stands up in the chariot car. He is depicted as a skinny youth with hair flowing down his shoulders, almost feminine in appearance. Under his protective arm huddles a young satyr. Satyrs were traditionally the wild and lustful drinking companions of the god. Dionysus is crowned with his usual ivy wreath and he carries his thyrsos, a wooden wand, topped as here with a pine cone. The chariot is powered by two centaurs, often associated in Greek myth with drunkenness and violence. This tipsy pair, a centaur and a centauress, seem harmless though. In front of the centaurs, the god Pan raps a tambourine, while Silenus, the most senior of the satyrs, is shown in an advanced state of drunkenness, supported by his companions. Finally, an elephant that the company have presumably picked up in the east is shown with satyrs and Maenads riding on its back. Leading the procession is a panther who turns round to look at him. On one of the sides of the sarcophagus, Pan appears again, supported by a pair of small winged figures, while on the other side is a relief depicting the baby Dionysus being carried in a basket by two satyrs. To the modern viewers, the subject might seem a bit inappropriate for decorating a coffin. However, the triumphant return of Dionysus from the east was an event celebrated and reenacted by worshippers of the god at spring festivals. It was also associated with rebirth and new life. Dionysus offered his followers liberation from their earthly concern and salvation beyond the grave. The Pashley sarcophagus was found at Arvi on the south coast of Crete by Robert Paschley, who acquired it and moved it to England. It was given to the museum in 1835. Pashley was a 19th century English traveller, lawyer and economist. He was born in York and studied mathematics and classics at Trinity College, Cambridge. In 1830 he was elected a Fellow of Trinity, and from 1832, as a travelling fellow, he undertook a journey to Italy, Greece, Asia Minor and Crete, from where he published 2 volumes with his memoirs titled Travels in Crete. Paschley's work on the establishment of Cretan archaeology was important, as he was one of the early researchers of Cretan culture in the first half of the 19th century. We know that he was the first one to work out the location of the ancient city of Kydonia, relying mostly on ancient literature. In his travel to Crete in 1830, he observed that Greek was the leading language of the island, while it was still part of the Ottoman Empire. The Greek War of Independence was already erupted in Peloponnese in 1821, with more regions of central Greece joining in the revolts soon after. What is less well known, though, is that Crete's participation in the revolution was extensive, even if it failed to achieve liberation from the Ottoman rule immediately. Crete had a long history of resisting the Ottoman rule, exemplified by the folk hero Daskaloyannis, and later, during 1821, an uprising by Christians which was met with a fierce response from the Ottoman authorities. Cretans also fought in support of the revolted Greeks in Peloponnese, and indeed a number of them who survived returned to the island later to lead further efforts to unite the island and organize revolts, particularly during 1823 and 1825. Crete will not become fully liberated from the Ottomans until the Cretan Revolt of 1866, the third and largest in a series of Cretan revolts between the end of the Greek War of Independence in 1830 and the establishment of the independent Cretan state in 1898. However, memoirs such as those of Robert Paschley gives us a unique glimpse into the context of the Greek Revolution and the fact that not all Greek-speaking regions were liberated simultaneously. His very candid description of the state of living of Cretans while he traveled to the island in the early 1830s gives a unique perspective of the longing of the Cretans to join the revolt in the mainland.